Hello and welcome to AZAAZ, Ask Zenatta Anything About Zoho. This is Volume 1, Issue 2, recorded on Wednesday, March 29th, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin and I'm here with Tyler Colt, Josh Oliver, and Greg Belknap, the A-Team, to answer all of your questions that came in over the last week. So with that, guys, let's get it rolling.
Let's do it.
All right, the first question is coming in from Mickey Romero, and he posted this over on Club Zenatta. If you go to Club Zenatta, we've got a little section there. It says "Ask Questions for AZAAZ." You put them in there, and we'll put them on the show. He says, "I know that there is a parent company field in CRM accounts, but it doesn't work how I was hoping. I want to have the multiple locations listed under the parent company with a tree view of the parent company, branch locations, and contacts under each branch. How can we accomplish this, team?"
Yeah, so you do have the ability to create that lookup, right, from one account to another, but the reporting, like you're kind of finding, is a little bit limited inside of CRM. You can go in, right, and kind of see the member accounts, but if you have like multi-layer businesses where you have, global, this country, this state, right? Things do kind of fall apart a little bit. You can improve the reporting by pulling this data into Zoho Analytics, and you can create kind of like a top-down and a hierarchical view. Depending on how many layers of hierarchy you're expecting and that you need to capture, that could be a little bit tricky, right? So easier said than done on that reporting requirement. But unfortunately, there's not much in the CRM that would give you that kind of total hierarchy of that entire like company matrix and all the contacts underneath it.
All righty. Sorry for the bad news there, Mickey. Moving on. I imagine you could write a module for that or something, right? Like some sort of custom
maybe
plugin.
XML related lists, maybe custom related lists that kind of scrape some data, but
But enough of that. It's time for the next question. Everybody shut up. All right. I'll read this one. Rocket X2 asked, actually on the last AZAAZ. So, so we're really just kind of eating our own tails here. He asks, is there a way to put a button on the contact record so that when I make a phone call on my cell phone, I don't have to dig through the Zoho menus to log the call? I actually have a screen share that I can do for this one. I'm assuming that when Rocket X2 here is not wanting to dig through a lot of menus, that they're referring to if you went to the calls module, create a call, and have to fill out a bunch of stuff. You can create a log of a call pretty easily by going over to the left pane of a contact or deal, whatever it is, and under open activities, click the little plus button, click on call. Then you get the option to schedule or log or start a call. So in this case, it would be logging a call. Then it brings up the quick create screen where you fill in the call start time, duration, the call type. If Rocket X2 is talking about that dealing with this thing is a hassle and a pain, then you certainly could create a button for the contact records that would, if you have a very nice boilerplate, all of your calls are always the same kind of call, you just want to know that it happened, you could certainly create a button and then use some custom deluge to create a record linked to that contact. But you would have to use custom functionality for that. So hopefully it was just the didn't know to click the plus, log a call, boop, fill it out, good to go.
Yeah, the only other, I think, way that you can do it is if you have the CRM app on your mobile phone. And Brett or Josh, let me know if I'm wrong here, but I think if you have the app on your mobile and you click to call through there, it'll actually call using your cell phone's phone number and log the call that way. So if you are kind of already on the go using it mobily, you might just want to try using the app, search the name there, and then click to call, because that should save you a step.
Right, but you have to initiate that call from the app.
You have to. Yeah, you have to do it from the app.
Well, and the same thing, even if you're on the desktop, if you just make the call, depending on the telephony system you're using and if it's integrated with the CRM, if you make the call from the CRM, then usually there's a little pop-up once the
Yeah.
call is over, where you just again fill in that info, hit save, and then it's saved to that record.
Right. And that's kind of nice too, because it even allows you to say, hey, do you want to save this over to desk or projects or recruit or CRM, and let you log the call wherever you want that to go. So,
Yep.
all righty. Next question. Steve Sandor says, I have a nurturing campaign that has 7 email sequences, and there are between 2 and 5 day delays between each email based on their action. Is there a way to test the sequence before hitting the go live button?
Yeah, I got this one here. So inside of campaigns, there's not a great way to initiate a test on an entire sequence or a workflow that you have created. But my recommendation is to create a test segment or a test list where maybe you and a few other employees are there to test the functionality, and then initiate your workflow on that test list before going live to your full list. So you could either do that by cloning and creating a new list for it to trigger on, or you can just edit and create a V2 once you confirm that it does work appropriately. But yeah, I wish there was a better way to trigger full journey tests rather than just single email tests. Maybe Zoho is going to come out with a solution in the future, but right now, just create a segment that'll do it.
Yeah. And you can even have a segment where like it's your domain, the email contains your domain, right? And then dump some
Sure.
people in and they'll go through it automatically. And Josh, for you, do you like to create a whole new workflow once you're done testing? Like test one and then clone it, change the entrance criteria and kind of leave the testing one behind?
Well, most people don't know this, but you can actually edit an existing workflow and then just resave it as a version 2. Most people
Yeah.
think you have to actually clone it and then
I used to.
cancel.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used
Yeah.
to. Yeah, but then we found you can actually version your workflows
Yeah.
to know
Well, that was new, right? That was new.
Yeah.
You couldn't
Last
version
year,
them
I think.
before, right?
when they first came out, right?
Yeah.
But one thing to know is whenever you do version your workflow is anyone who's in the workflow will continue receiving the old version. Only new contacts added will receive the new version.
Yep.
So that's one reason why you may want to just deprecate the old version entirely and start fresh. But be careful with that. There's
Yeah.
pros and cons to doing that.
Yeah, I think the major takeaway here that I guess wasn't Steve's actual question, but good on you, Steve, for wanting to test your campaign on a few contacts before launching it.
Rolling it out.
Because we've definitely seen where somebody, launched a new campaign on like their whole list of contacts, and then like one of the emails was wrong, and so it had a typo, and so we had to stop like 50,000 contacts that were mid-flow. You never want to stop mid-flow, and had to like restart a whole new workflow and all this stuff. So yeah,
With
definitely
email
take
workflows, measure
Personally,
twice,
Steve,
not once.
I think you just live on the edge, Steve. Just send it, man. See what happens. Don't listen to Greg.
What happened to faith, man?
Yeah. I loved, it's so many people when Zoho made their big change a year ago, right? Where it was a whole new way of syncing, and basically it synced everything over. And oh man, were some disasters there where just thousands and thousands of emails and SMSs were going out. And it was, yeah. Anyway, moving on. Next question. James Ho, after watching everything you need to know about Zoho Desk 2023, asked the question, what is the use case for integrating Zoho Desk with Zoho campaigns?
Yeah, so basically it's if you are wanting to be able to add people to a campaign list directly from Zoho Desk, whatever situation that might be, that's what that extension is for. You don't create a whole campaign from within Desk, but you can create new mailing lists. You can add people or remove people from a mailing list, and then you can see the status of any campaigns that contact is involved in. So, for example, if so I guess if you have campaigns that are going out and because presumably if they're in desk, I guess it just depends. You might be using desk rather than as like a help desk, as like, I don't know, maybe like a pseudo CRM almost, or if or maybe just as like a like a support team to get like incoming people that are like showing interest in emails that you've sent out to them. Then you can just kind of see the history of if that person came from like a lead nurturing campaign. You'd be able to kind of just see that on the fly.
But I think most cases, James, if you're using CRM, just use CRM. Just have the lead sync, have the contacts sync from desk over to CRM. You're profiling them there. The contact's better profile, and that's just kind of your single source of syncing. I think that would be the preferred methodology. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it also does give valuable insight when you're answering a support request. You can kind of see within that support request itself what the journey is for that customer and how they got to that question. Maybe they saw a campaign go out, and that campaign had some information and they had a question on that specific email. And so having that email directly tied to the support request, I think is valuable insight when you're responding as an agent.
Being able to see as well what mailing list they're a part of. Like I'm thinking about certain like managed service providers. Let's say that like I'm a managed service provider and I install 20 of a certain server rack on premise on location for you. I've seen this use case before that they'll then opt that person into a certain mailing list and campaigns to receive product updates and things like that. Like, hey, there's a firmware upgrade. We're going to need to come on site in 2 weeks, so don't be surprised. And so from a support basis, maybe you get an email saying, hey, these guys showed up and I had no idea. You could quickly look and go, oh, looks like you aren't subscribed for this type of notification, and then opt them in. So it's kind of one of those why not things, James. Like once you have everything in the Zoho environment, you might as well have that data kind of flow around wherever you might want to use it.
This one comes from Kent McCoy, and he watched our YouTube video segments and topic assignments for Zoho Campaigns 2022. He says, I set up a multi-select custom field in Zoho Campaigns, but Zoho is having trouble segmenting contacts with multiple interests when I use the is function in the segment criteria. Do I have to use contains, or is there a way to use is?
Contains. Got to use contains. Last question, we had lots of nuance and thoughts for. This one's nice, cut and dry. Contains. Just have to use contains.
Now,
this
be
is a
careful,
common use
though.
case, but be very careful, right? You need to make sure that all the options in that multi-select aren't going to cause conflicts with contain statements. But yeah, it's essentially, yes, use contains, can't use is for that use case.
Yeah, and when I say be careful, just making sure all of your options are unique values. Ideally, just like a one word instead of multiple words, because contains, if you have multiple words that might contain, or maybe a single word that contains within another multiple word option, it can get messy.
Not started.
Exactly.
If you have
Not started versus
and not started contains started.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. That's a great example. That's like a perfect one because they're like the most opposite that they could be. But yeah, contains would definitely get them both.
Yeah. A lot of times I see people number them, right?
Yeah.
Like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just make sure you don't use numbers in any of the descriptions. And if you do that, if say contains the number 1, then you kind of, it's a very simple way to.
That's dangerous too, though, because 10 contains.
Go over
1.
11. Yeah.
You need to only have a certain number, right? If you have less than 9 options in your multi-select,
do a regular drop down.
So yeah, it gets a little tricky, but if you're diligent about the options, then you'll have to use contains.
Yeah. Yep. And you could do 0, 1, 0, 2, 0,
3. That's the solution there.
All right, guys. Next question. All right. From Club Z, the post title is WhatsApp Integration. It's Rohit. He says, whilst. Oh, you don't see enough people using the word whilst these days, you know? Whilst I like the look of Smooth Messenger, most of our clients prefer WhatsApp to SMS. Any recommendations for a Smooth Messenger equivalent for WhatsApp?
Is that a British accent? Is that supposed to be like a fancy British?
Greg, what do you got?
Indubitably, Rohit, I have a solution for you. Yes. So this is actually a relatively new feature in the CRM, but Zoho actually has a built-in business messaging feature that they're just starting to roll out that connects with WhatsApp. So if you are a WhatsApp user, then you can make use of this. If you go to your settings, and then there's this business messaging under channels. So you'll go email, telephony, business messaging below it. Head over there. Now clearly Zoho has big plans to keep expanding this, because it's, they say business messaging providers. There's only one at the moment, but they're manifesting. They want to probably add, hopefully, Twilio or whoever else onto this. But if you got the WhatsApp, then you'll just click on details down there. Then there's a big old green integrate button in the upper right. But there is also a very nice step-by-step guide. If you click on this, set up WhatsApp Business and Zoho CRM, there are a lot of sort of caveats to being able to use this feature. When you read this help article, you'll see that you need this actually goes through Facebook. So you need a Facebook Business Manager account, and then it goes through, I believe it essentially goes through like Zoho Social to connect to Facebook, and then to WhatsApp through Facebook and Zoho Social. So you get a Facebook Business Manager account, and then a WhatsApp business account. Then all you have to do is just integrate, agree to the terms and conditions. Again, just verify that you have all the necessary prerequisites. Then you just log in with your whatever Facebook account is linked to your Zoho Social, and then then there's just a number of steps to follow just on the screen to finish integrating that together. When you do, then the way this manifests itself in your system is it will actually, similar to Smooth Messenger, is that it will add a new module to the CRM. And in there, you'll see lists of messages with the lead or contact on, in one column. You'll be able to take note of I got the little bar in the way there. If it's got one of these little replied arrows to see that, have you guys already responded? Versus if it doesn't, then it means that it's an unresponded message. And if we look at the actual conversation screen, you might notice that it does look similar to the other apps that we've seen featured, such as Smooth Messenger, where you kind of have the left and right sides. You can also send attachments through these, which is nice. So if somebody's asking for a quote, you can text it to them directly. And then there is a related list that then shows up on those contacts, showing all the most recent messages. Now, it appears from this. Now we've only got screenshots for this right now. These are from the integration article on Zoho's help forum. It doesn't appear that there's a add message option on here, or at least I didn't see it. So I don't know if you can be on a contact and just click like send text. You may have to go to the messages module and create a message and then search for a contact. I'm not sure, but in any case, if you're a WhatsApp user, this you can definitely make use of this.
Well, Greg, I feel like you covered all the bits and bobs there, and that was quite the bee's knees, I got to say.
Every bit, every bob. No bob unturned.
All righty. Next question. Larry King, next question. Caller from Delaware. I went to Delaware once. Anyways, Greg McIntyre asked, the title of our Club Z is Subscription Differences. He's asking if there's any resource that demonstrates what you are missing out on by not upgrading from one version of CRM to the other. Looking for something along the lines of, you won't be able to do this in Standard Edition, but you will in Enterprise. Well, Greg, it's actually really, really simple. I've got a screen share here for you, so I'm going to show you how to do that. If you just head over to zoho.com/CRM, one of the things you can do is click on pricing up here at the top. And if you click on pricing, basically it's going to give you all of the different versions, from standard, professional to enterprise to ultimate. And when you also, you can change your pricing, got a nice little pricing widget here, whether you're paying monthly or yearly. And as you scroll down, it's going to basically give you all of the various definitions. So you'll start to see where things drop off. Really a huge jump between professional and enterprise. Oftentimes we're talking to clients and they're on professional and we just know what they want to do. They're going to have to upgrade to enterprise. And, it can be significant depending on the number of users you have, but there are huge, huge differences. So you'll see here just on the basic aspect of things on Salesforce automation, you don't have multiple scoring rules. You don't have email parsers. When you get down to, automation and process management, record approval of process is missing, from professional to enterprise. Custom
Custom
functions,
functions, that's a huge one.
huge. Huge, huge, huge. On product customization, really, really big
Custom
ones.
modules.
Custom modules, major. Page layouts, major. That's the ability to, when you're looking at, say, a contact, or better yet, a deal page, based upon your selections of various fields, it's going to hide or show various sections on that page, so it can keep it very clean. So there's just a whole lot, and you can kind of go through everything. Reports and analytics. Active dashboard components is a big one. Zoho Analytics is another big one. And marketing automation, you lose attribution, you lose segmentation, you lose autoresponders. And then on the security side, reporting hierarchy, record level sharing, territory management, and data encryption. So they do break it down for you very nicely. You just kind of got to dig through this page a little bit, and you're able to see pretty much everything you would want to know about what you're gaining or what you're not gaining. Guys, I mean, we do see, like I mentioned, we see it a lot. People on professional edition, and they're wondering why it's not doing certain things. And you really, I think bare minimum enterprise. Ultimate is, I don't think we've ever had anyone who needed to be on ultimate.
Nope. No one's ever
No.
needed it.
No, enterprise really. You do get ultimate included with CRM Plus, though. So if you own that
Yep.
bundle, you actually have the ultimate edition, and so that's something to consider there as well. And I think that CRM Plus is pretty much the same price as the ultimate edition standing alone, isn't it? Close
I think
to
so.
that.
Just
yeah.
about.
Yeah. All right. Hope that answered your question, Greg. And moving on.
Alrighty, so
We have
Shabazz asked here looks like he asked over on Clubzen, post titles page sense sudden pause. Essentially asked, I have encountered this problem twice now where page sense unexpectedly pauses. We contacted Zoho for assistance, but they were unsure about the cause, promised to investigate. Haven't received any updates from Zoho, and the issue has recurred at least one more time. Kind of asking, has anyone else experienced these types of pauses? Are there any explanations? Because right now they're having to go into each experiment, relaunch each one of those manually. So there's kind of two different things that I've seen happen within PageSense. It's an application that's in our maybe category because it does work well when it works, but it has these odds and ends that kind of cause it to have issues. So generally two types of issues I'll see with PageSense. There's the issue where it's on, but it's not sending enough people through the experiment to gather data. Like I remember a while back, we spun up an A/B test, which is really cool. You can do that, like serve up two versions of a homepage. We told it to put, I think, 25% of our traffic into that test. And after a week, it had run it on like 7 people, so it's just these odds and ends where it just doesn't really take effect and really start to do things. In terms of the experiment pausing, I would have to think it's got to be something with the tracking code, right? If it's determining that it's not on the page, just pausing the experiments. I don't know, Josh or Craig, if you guys have ever bumped into that, but it is one of those apps, unfortunately, that it's just a little bit buggy here and there. You end up with some of those problems, right?
Yeah, I tried to play around with PageSense in the past, but I kind of gave up on it because like you said, campaigns just don't trigger properly. And then also heat maps, because you're not getting the data in for where people are moving their mouse. You can't generate an actual heat map that's effective to either use in an A/B test or just a general heat map. So unfortunately, I did give up on it a while back, but I'm hoping PageSense team can fix some of those bugs,
Yeah, and it's
because
one of
it's
those
really
applications that I don't think there's been an update on it, Josh, in forever.
I can't think
I
of
I
last
haven't
haven't
time it
seen
was
seen.
on the show or anything that we like talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of promise in there because there's cool things you could do, but we've gone around and around on it a couple times for our own like internal use cases, and it just doesn't seem to work properly. And with a tool like this, it has to work properly, or your data kind of goes bad, right? Your experiment's a lot less valid if it only runs on 20 people, right?
Mhm.
And this one has, after watching our Zoho CRM subform integration to create custom module records implementation from 2020. And boy, a lot has changed with subforms and everything since 2020. But Helene is asking, I'm trying to link a subform with a lookup field on Zoho Forms to the CRM. My form is a student application where they select multiple courses, which are my products in Zoho CRM. I want the course list to populate a subform in the CRM with the CRM product lookup associated. Is it possible?
Yeah, I can take this one. So a lot has changed since 2020, but unfortunately, nothing has fixed this issue here. So inside of subforms, inside of Zoho Forms, so within a subform in Zoho Forms, you cannot add integration fields. You're limited to just a drop-down pick list. So if you were going to do this within Zoho Forms, you need to first add all of your courses as a drop down option within a pick list. And then you would have to have some sort of custom function that would run whenever you are creating that record inside the CRM to link it to a CRM product
Yeah.
record, a lookup field. So it would have to be a custom function that takes that string value, searches for a course, and then associates the product lookup directly to that subform. Now, if you want to do something a little fancier and you have the means to do it inside a Zoho Creator, I definitely recommend it. In Creator, you can actually create a subform with a integration field directly to the products module. So then you're not having to run that automation to mass update. It's the source of truth. So anytime a new product is added, then it just shows up in the list, and it would run a lot smoother. But there
Yeah.
would still be some custom function needed to create that
And
record
now,
inside the CRM.
when you're making that form in Creator, you can still have someone who's not a user of Creator fill it out, right? You can create like an external page where they could go land on and fill that out.
Yes. Yeah. So in Zoho Forms, you can add integration fields, but those integration fields are only available to logged in Zoho users. And that's more so a data security issue. They don't want you to share your product list with the world. But inside of Creator, you can do that. Again, be careful what modules and what forms you're giving access to, but you can share that externally so that any products inside of your product list will show up inside that subform.
And then our last question. This is actually from someone who watched ChatGPT integration for Zoho Click via a custom bot 2023. Greg, this is one that you did. And Book Technology is asking, is it possible to create a ChatGPT integration with Zoho Sales IQ as well? That
Yes,
would
it
be cool.
is. And in fact, it's super, super easy because the Zoho Sales IQ Zobots, which I assume this is what they're
It's
talking
got to
about
be.
integrating it with, is the Zobots run on the same exact like coding structure that ClickBots do. So you basically will be able to use that same snippet that we shared in that video in the Zoho Sales IQ bot. You may have to make a couple of tweaks to maybe some API names or the way that you're passing the message and response back to the bot at the end. I think in the Chat GPT ClickBot, we have it actually using a zoho.click.post to bot, whereas in the Sales IQ one, you would just the return statement at the end of your function will be the message you're handing to the bot for it to then say back to the user, assuming that you're using a message handler versus like a conversation handler. But yeah, essentially Zobots and ClickBots run the same way. They're just housed in different spots.
It's possible, but is it recommended? I don't know. You don't know what a chat GPT bot is going to say to your end user. So I would be very careful integrating that. You have no idea and you can't really control that. Although, Greg, you were mentioning you can pass training data to chat GPT, or you had mentioned something about that, so that maybe we could train the bot to answer a certain way.
Yes. But that is taking things to a pretty high level. But yes, theoretically, if you've got somebody that like is already obsessed with Chat GPT and like who actually like has coded with Chat GPT before, yes, you could get somebody to you could give them like a stack of prompts and ideal responses, feed that into Chat GPT, and then have like your own like forked off clone of Chat GPT that is specialized to your particular need, industry, whatever it is, whatever the use cases are. So yes, possible, but would take a lot of intimate coding.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do with ChatGPT, Greg. I mean, I think as we see down the road, they're probably going to release filters for various industries, would be my guess, right? So, you'll be limited. I mean, there's just so much. I haven't had a chance to play with ChatGPT 4 yet. Has anyone had a chance to look at that?
No,
I hear
not
it's,
at all.
Nope,
I hear
on the
it's
wait list,
insane.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
I'm
So
guessing
anyway,
rather
yeah,
than
but like I agree
rather
with
than
you, Josh. It would
filters
be quite
going out,
just
I think we're probably going to see. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we're probably going to see like industries pop up of like whole companies whose whole things are dedicated to. We have trained we have trained the open, not Chat GPT, but just we have trained OpenAI's language models to be just perfect support representatives for a security firm's help center.
OpenAI is Twilio for VoIP, right? Like they want to be the back end that allows people to white label and build on top, right? I think you're right, Greg. It'll be verticalized solutions that really, really specialize into a particular space.
Yeah, but I think just turning it loose, although it is very, very inexpensive. I mean, we've been using it internally for various things, and I think I got a bill for 75 cents for our month's worth of use. I mean, they're not charging a lot. It's every 750 words, is like a penny or something. It's just, there's
Well,
not.
yeah, they're not going to charge a lot because they need mass early adoption. So
Yeah.
everybody starts using it and continues to feed into it and improve its performance. And then just like Uber, just like Airbnb, just like all of those, once it's universally adopted and they've managed to make the previous establishments go extinct, then you jack up the prices. And now they got a monopoly, baby.
Well, hey guys, thank you for issue 2 of
Absolutely.
AZAAZ. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. As always, if you want to reach us over here at Zenatta Consulting, then go to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting. Happy to talk to you.
On our website is where you'll find complete episodes of our podcast, The CRM Zen Show, where we cover every single news story in the world of Zoho every single week. We'd love if you'd subscribe to our newsletter to get that news delivered right to your inbox, as well as to our YouTube channel, and subscribe to us on any choice of your podcast app. We'll see you next Wednesday for the next issue of AZAAZ.